I am asking, am I audible or not? Give me a reply fastly in chat box. What are you doing? Type C or N. Right. Let's move on. What we are discussing now, I'll explain you. I told in the last session something like we want to use JPA with Hibernate. In our example today, we will understand about how to use JPA with Hibernate. Okay, let's move on. Let's go ahead. There are some changes you are going to observe. There are some changes that you are going to observe. Okay. There are some changes that you are going to observe. One change is, we are not writing our DAO class with Hibernate API. We are going to write our DAO class with JPA. Second, I told yesterday, you don't have any hibernate.cfg.xml from today. Instead of writing that file, we are writing another file called what? Persistence.xml file. And where do I keep that file? Under a folder called as meta-inf is a folder where we can keep our persistence.xml. Yesterday I told you how that file looks like. Well, today we'll copy paste that. Next one, we are writing mapping annotations, but we are not writing any mapping XML. We use JPA annotations through that. These are all what in the last session I told, and today we are going to look at. In a JPA, in the JPA API, you have entity manager factory. You have entity manager factory. Let me show you some piece of code so that you will understand about what is there inside. Okay, let's move on. Let's go ahead. Okay, let me tell you. Here, I will explain. When you are working with Hibernate, session factory. What session factory object, like a session factory in a JPA, there is a factory called entity manager factory. Entity manager factory equals to session factory. Entity manager is nothing but session. Entity transaction is nothing but transaction. Means similar to Hibernate API. In a JPA, these are all from JPA. If you look at the package name, what's the package name here? javax.persistence. javax.persistence is what? It is the name of the package of JPA. JPA has only one package, that is javax.persistence. Package name is javax.persistence. And we have entity manager factory, entity transaction, persistence. These are all came from org.hibernate package or javax.persistence package. Right. Earlier, what you know, when before this example, in our first example of Hibernate, what you know, there is a session factory object. There is a session object. There is a transaction object. Equal to what here? Equal to what in our JPA? Entity manager factory, entity manager, entity transaction. Entity manager factory, entity manager, entity transaction. There, what are the objects in Hibernate? Session factory, session transaction. That's all. And remaining same. In order to create entity manager factory, there is a class given called persistence. Persistence class contains a method called create entity manager factory. So this create entity manager factory will create a entity manager factory object. And here we are going to provide the name of the persistence unit. This is there in this name you can find in persistence.xml file. It is a name coming from persistence.xml file. I'll show you that. But this is a statement used for creating entity manager factory. And once we got entity manager factory object, the next one is we are going to create a entity manager object. Then we are going to get a transaction object. Then we are going to begin the transaction. Then we are going to commit the transaction or we are going to roll back the transaction. This is what we need to do when you are working with what API? JPA. Now my DAO class is created with Hibernate API. These are all Hibernate API or JPA API. JPA API. What's the advantage of using this JPA API here? What is the advantage of using the JPA API in this entity class, in this DAO class? If I want to switch to another persistence tool, another ORM tool, I no need to change my DAO class. This DAO class remains same, but where I need to change? In the XML file, I need to change. That XML file is what? Persistence.xml. In that file, I need to change. But this code remains same. This code remains same. It doesn't contain any changes. That is an advantage of working with what? JPA, Java Persistence API. So today we are writing our first example with that. Okay, let's start writing it. Let's start writing about this. Okay, let's go ahead. What I want to create here, guys, I want to create a new project. Which project I want to create? Maven project. Maven project. Say next. We will wait for getting all the archetypes list. Yes, I got the archetypes list. We want to create a Java project. To create a Java project in Maven, you have to choose one archetype called Quick Start. Maven archetype Quick Start. Archetype in Maven is nothing but what? Template. Project template. Project template means that a template creates the directory structure. That a template will automatically create the directory structure. Yes, directory structure. Correct. So which archetype I need to choose now? Remember, archetype is nothing but what in Maven. If somebody asks a question, then what is your answer? An archetype in Maven is a template for creating the project structure. What is archetype? It is a template for creating a project structure. Project structure. Which type of the project I want to create today? I want to create a Java project. What is the archetype in Maven I have to use to create the project structure for Java projects? Maven archetype Quick Start. So what I'm choosing here in the filter box? Maven archetype Quick Start. There are three Maven archetype Quick Start templates are available, given by different vendors. This is GitHub vendor. Okay, this is called Haxor vendor. This is the Maven Apache vendor. So there are three different templates are available from different vendors or different organizations. But which one we are choosing? Maven archetype from Apache. Apache archetype we are choosing. Then we have to click on next. Okay, then we need to go for group ID, artifact ID, and blah blah blah. You know these are all called project template. The project coordinates. This is group ID. What is a group ID? com.ait. Next one is what? Artifact. Artifact ID is nothing but what basically? Artifact ID is nothing but what basically? Project name only, na? Let us say project name. I want to say the project name like this now. Artifact ID is something called JPA Hibernate application 1. APPLN1. Next, package name com.ait.entity. Then I want to click on finish. Okay. Now on the terminal, on the console, it will wait for my yes or no option. Okay. In this console, when it is creating the project, lastly, what's asking me? Why? This is your group ID. What is my group ID? Confirm the properties configuration. What is the properties? Group ID is com.ait. Artifact ID is what? JPA Hibernate APPLN1. Version is what? 001 hyphen snapshot. Then package name is what? com.ait.entity. Then what I want to say, whether do you want to say yes or no? Say what? Yes. Why? Build success. Build success. Let's go ahead now. Let's go ahead here. Okay. Let's move on. Now, this is my project name. What is the name? JPA Hibernate application 1. Here you need to understand now. This is my pom.xml. In pom.xml, I want to change here version 11. Which version of Java I want to use? 11, Java 11, JDK 11 I want to use. You can use 1.8 also, your choice. I want to use 11. This is Maven compiler source. This is Maven compiler target. Maven compiler source is 11. Maven compiler target is also 11. These are the changes you do first. Then you have to start adding the dependencies. But today there are many dependencies you need to add. Not only just like Hibernate application. Because here you need to add JPA dependency. JPA provider is what? Hibernate. So Hibernate dependencies. JAXB dependencies for conversions. It internally use means what? One dependency means one jar file. That jar file may depend on another jar file. That may depend on other jar file. So where do you configure all those dependencies in the file? The file name is what? pom.xml. So in the pom.xml, I need to add all these dependencies. I'll tell you what are the dependencies to add. Observe here. Okay. Try to understand the concept here. Listen to me clearly and carefully now. Observe clearly. Okay. Let's go ahead, guys. I'm moving towards dependency section. Observe here. Let's move on. I will tell you what are the dependencies that you are supposed to add. Observe here. First, I'm talking about JPA related dependencies. I will write comment here. They are called JPA dependencies. JPA dependencies I'm adding first. So I'm adding the JPA dependencies. Okay. What are the JPA dependencies I need to add? Hibernate hyphen entity manager. Next one, Hibernate hyphen JPA. What are these two dependencies? What dependencies? JPA dependencies. Next, I need to add Hibernate dependencies. This is Hibernate JPA dependencies. Next one, Hibernate, because we know JPA specification is implemented by different vendors. They are called JPA providers. Hibernate is also one of the JPA provider, obviously, right? So what I need to do? I need to add the Hibernate as a JPA provider. So Hibernate dependency is required. Now this is my Hibernate dependency. Hibernate hyphen core. This is the main dependency for Hibernate. What is the next after that? I also need to add the driver dependency. What I need to add? The driver dependency. Which driver I'm using? MySQL. So MySQL driver dependency. I'm writing comment. You can write a comment like this in XML file. In XML file, if you want to write comment, this is a syntax. Okay, exclamation, double hyphen. Close with double hyphen, greater than. In HTML file also the same syntax you have to use to write comment. Either in HTML file or in XML file, the syntax of writing the comment will be the same. Okay. This is MySQL driver dependency. This is which driver dependency? MySQL driver dependency. Next, we also need to add JAXB dependencies. These are all internal dependencies required. Okay. Next, I add JAXB dependencies. These are called JAXB dependencies. So finally, these many dependencies you need to add in the pom.xml file. Okay. First two dependencies are related to JPA. Next one is related to Hibernate. Next one is related to MySQL driver. The next three related to JAXB. JAXB stands for Java API for XML binding. Java API for XML binding. JAXB dependencies required. Okay, these dependencies are used for converting Java object into XML or JSON format. JSON data into Java object. For conversion of Java object into XML or JSON, or for converting JSON data or XML data into Java object, there is a API required. What is the API that can do these transformations? JAXB API. Hibernate uses JAXB API. Okay. Spring uses Jackson API. There are different APIs are available for doing the same work. Okay. So in Hibernate, it uses what API? JAXB API. JAXB stands for Java API for XML binding. What's the name? Java API for XML binding. That is a what? That is a JAXB API. Okay. It is used for what purpose? For conversion of a Java object to the JSON or XML format, or XML or JSON format to the Java object. For that purpose, what API used? JAXB API is used. Okay, right. Okay. We are done with this. The dependencies are over. The dependencies are over. Right click and update the Maven project. Maven update project. Now whenever I update the project, you can see the version change it to 11. What is the next step I have to do? I also need to create the resources folder. If you look at this, src main/java is a folder which is automatically created. src/test/java is created, but what is not created? Resources folder is not created. We have to manually create the folder. Where I can create folder? Where I need resources? Under main. Where is main folder? Under src. So open src folder here. Now this is main folder. Right click on this main folder. New folder. What is the folder name? Resources. Got it? Once again, tell me what's the folder name? Resources is a folder. Resources. Correct. Resources is a folder. I told yesterday, we are working with JPA, right? What is the XML file we generate? Persistence.xml. What is the file name? Persistence.xml file you have to generate. Not hibernate.cfg.xml. You don't find any such XML from today. From today, only one XML file you are finding in all our projects. What is that one XML file? Persistence.xml file. Where do you keep this file? Under a folder called meta-inf. Where should I create that meta-inf folder? Under resources. Under resources. Okay, first what I do one thing. I will update the Maven project. First right click, Maven update project. Once you updated it, you can be able to see src/main/what? Resources. What I want to do here? Src/main/resources is okay. What I want to do here, I want to create a folder. What is a folder I want to create? A meta-inf. So right click, then what I say? New folder. New folder. Yes, new folder. What is my folder name? Meta hyphen what? INF. Yes. Meta hyphen INF. It must be an uppercase letter. Meta hyphen INF. Tell me in this meta INF, what should I create? File. What is the file name I told yesterday? Persistence.xml. Let me copy that. I'll share this example. You will find persistence.xml. But here I am copying it. Let's copy it. I would like to paste here. Let me do some changes. Okay, observe here. What is the root tag of writing this XML? Persistence. What is the root tag? Persistence. I told in the last class. Persistence tag contains persistence unit. Under one persistence tag. This is called root. So what is the root here? Persistence. Root tag is persistence. Under persistence tag, there can be multiple persistence unit tags. There can be multiple persistence unit tags can be there. Under where? Under persistence, there can be multiple persistence unit tags can be there. I have only one tag I written. Observe here. This is a start of the persistence unit. This is the end of the persistence unit. But I can start one more also. For example, let me write one more. For example, if I'm writing persistence unit, has some attributes, leave it. There's attribute called name equal to blah, blah, blah. Something I'm writing. For example, test2. Means what? Under one persistence tag, I can write multiple persistence hyphen unit tags. Here, what is a unit name given? Test. Here, what is a unit name given? Test2. But when should I create multiple persistence hyphen unit tags? if your application is connecting with multiple databases at a time. If your application is connecting with multiple databases at a time. If your application is connecting with a single database at a time, then how many persistence type one unit attacks are required? One is required. One is required. When to create a two persistence type one unit attacks? When should I create a two persistence type one unit attacks? If my application is connecting with two databases at a time. At the end of the Hibernate class, this session, very last session or last but one. At that time, I will show you how to create a single JPA application with the Hibernate to connect with two databases at a time. But currently we are working with how many databases at a time? One database only, MySQL only our database now. Very last example is what? MySQL plus Oracle. Okay, or MySQL with some other PostgreSQL. Two databases at a time. But currently we are working with how many? Only one. Only one. So I don't need second one. So I don't need second one. Next, guys. Next one. Here, everybody. Observe here, everyone. What is the name I gave? Test. 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 Okay. Observe here. Test. What is a transaction type equal to what I written? Resource underscore local. Actually, here I can write in place of resource local JTA. I can write JTA, Java Transaction API. But when should I write transaction type JTA? If I am working with multiple databases at a time. If I am working with multiple databases at a time. But I told you just now we are working with how many databases at a time currently? Only one database. If you are connecting with one database at a time, then the transaction type must be resource underscore local. Tell me, what are the two values I can write here? What are the two values I can write for transaction type? Resource underscore local. Otherwise, JTA. Resource underscore local for connecting with one database. JTA for when working with multiple databases at a time. Multiple databases at a time, right? Okay. Transaction type is resource underscore local. Okay, right? So guys, everybody. Okay, I'm giving 1 minute time. Try to write whatever you have understood. I'm giving 1 minute time. Try to write. I'm not keeping all these things in the document. Okay. Just I'm explaining on the fly. What is the use of writing multiple persistence hyphen unit text in this XML? What is the transaction type is equal to resource underscore local? What is transaction type is equal to JTA? Please note, I'll give you a minute of time. 1 minute I will wait. Okay. Please note it. Okay. Into your notebook. Okay. Keep a notebook and pen with you and try to write some runtime points as well when the session is going on. Okay. Good. Okay, so I think everybody you have noted into your notebook. Now let's go ahead. This XML file I have even yesterday explained it. Okay, nothing is there inside. Okay, I want to change my entity class and I want to change my package name. First of all, I want to show you. This is by default app.java file is created. I just want to delete this file. Now, what is a package name? com.ait.entity. Inside this com.ait.entity, I am actually going to create one entity class. And I want to name my entity class. I just want to create my entity class name as product. What is my entity class name? Product. So tell me what is my complete fully qualified name of entity class? com.ait.entity.product entity. I'll write create. See, I want to create a new class here. Class name is product entity. What's my class name? Product entity. My class name is product entity. I'm creating like this. Okay, any name you can take. Why I'm using the word entity is just to represent that this is an entity class in my project. Generally, it's not mandatory. It's up to you. Sometimes when the people are creating bean classes, for example, employee bean, the people use a word bean at the last. Why? In order to represent that this is a bean class. It's a Java bean class. Is it mandatory? No, it's optional. If you want, you can add it. If you don't want, you can leave it. That's all in your hands. So I want to add this entity word because I want to represent that this is an entity class. I would like to represent that this is an entity class. So I'm creating product entity. What is this product entity? It is my entity class. Okay. So come back to this XML. What is my entity class name? com.ait.entity.product entity. That's the only change I need to do. That's all. Remaining all, you know, I don't need to explain. Driver class, URL, username, and password. Okay, right. Product entity is our entity class. Entity. Okay. Remaining all, you know, driver class name, URL, username, password. Here, what is my database name is test. In MySQL, what is my database name? Test is a database name. Username and password, you know, dialect, you know. Next, what you know? HBM to DDL auto update, you know. Show SQL true, you know. Format SQL also, you know. So this XML is not a new one for you. These properties are already, you know. These properties, you know. Right. These are not new for you. These are already known to you. Right. And these are the somewhat new things. What is the tag here? Provider. Who is the provider here? Hibernate is a provider for JPA. And how many entity classes I have? Only one. And what is my entity class name? com.ait.entity. Okay. In upcoming classes, we'll create 2-3 entity classes. When you're discussing about associations, relationships, then we create 2-3 entity classes. If I have 2 or 3 entity classes, I have to start writing class tag for one more time here. Class tag for one more time there. Class tag for one more time there. Like that. Like that. That's all. Okay. Now back to this entity class. First, let us start writing the annotations. First of all, how can I declare that this is an entity class? @entity. I can declare that it is an entity class by using @entity. Next, @table. Okay, table name TBL underscore product. Okay, when I'm trying to organize imports, Control Shift O, you type now. What is happening now? It's giving me 2 imports. Which one you would like to have? javax.persistence.entity is the first option. org.hibernate.annotations.entity second option. So which one I should choose? That's a question. Okay, we are working with the JPA, right? So what is the package name of JPA? javax.persistence. Okay, guys, javax.persistence. So this one I have to choose. And of course, if you clearly observe, If you clearly observe, you are getting one line here. This line indicates that it is okay, deprecated. The line indicates what this is. Deprecated annotation. Deprecated means suggestible that don't use it. In future, it is going to be removed. Before removing something from Java API or any API, first it will be deprecated. Then it will be removed. Okay, good. Next, table. Which one I have to use? javax.persistence.table. Use from JPA. Use from JPA. From both same package. Next, @ID, @column, column name equal to product underscore ID, private, integer, product ID. Okay, we know that this is a primary key column. What does it mean? Product ID is the variable name. And I want to map it with a column name. Which annotation can be used to map it with a column? @column annotation. To specify the column name, we use annotation @column. What's the column name in the database table? Product underscore ID. What is my variable name? Product ID. And this is a primary key column. If it is a primary key column of the table, then we can use annotation called what? @ID. Next, private, string, product name, @column, name equal to product underscore name. Have you understood now? Everyone, right? Good, nice. So for what is completed, product ID and product name. Next, I want to write one more attribute called quantity. Observe here, private, integer. Everybody, integer. What's the name? Quantity. Private, integer, quantity. Okay, quantity is the variable. But I am not writing @column. Why? Column name also quantity only. If a column name is same as this variable name only, then no need to specify column name. No need to use or specify the column name using annotation called @column. I'm avoiding that. Next one, @column, name equal to unit underscore price, private, double, unit price, private. Okay. Now, what are the properties? I have product ID, product name, quantity, unit price. Next one, I want two new things I want to explain today. I want to insert for every product, creation time required, updation time required. Creation time means when the record is inserted. Whenever the object is stored in the database, when it is stored, that is creation time. If it is made any changes on that, maybe quantity is changed or price is changed, when that record is last updated. Normally, whenever you are creating a new file in your hard disk, your file contains a creation time. If you open the file and do some changes in the file, again save the file, then your file also contains updation time. Last updated on. You are getting the last modified. For files, you are finding this. Creation time will be there. Last modified time will be there. Similarly, I also want what for each product. When the product is inserted in the database and when it was last updated. So two additional attributes I'm taking. See here, private, private, local date time, created on. Understand everyone. Local data time is one class. It's actually from Java 8. Local data time is a class from Java 8. Package name is java.time. What's the package name? Java.time. Guys, observe here. I'm adding annotation at the rate column. Column name equal to created underscore on. Okay. What is it? Created underscore on. Again, you have to understand. This creation time, updation time, we don't do it manually. Hibernate will take care. What I am going to set for the product? I'll set the ID of the product, name of the product, quantity for the product, unit price, I'll set. But what about creation time and updation time? Hibernate will set. And for that, there are annotations given. At the rate creation timestamp. What's the annotation? At the rate creation timestamp. Again, listen here. Private, local date time. Okay, updated on. Column name. I want to specify the column name. What? At the rate column. At the rate column name equal to. Okay, last updated. Last updated on. Underscore on. And what I want right here annotation at the rate update timestamp. So basically what you understood now, there are two new annotations you learned today. Apart from yesterday, today you got two more new annotations. What are they? Creation timestamp. Next one, update timestamp. Okay, creation timestamp used for creation timestamp used for creation time. Update timestamp used for update time. Update time. Who will take care of these times? Hibernate. You don't worry. Whenever I insert the record, means whenever I save an object product in the database, creation time, last updation time, same. But when I modify the record, then creation time will be previous time. Last updated time will be current time. Okay, means what is not going to be changed every time? Creation time will not be changed. But what will be changed? Updation time will be changed. You are correct. Okay, observe here. Listen. Listen the point here, right? Okay. So what is the entity class I have created? Product entity. Totally, what are the properties of this entity class? There are how many properties I have created here? 6 properties. What are the 6? Product ID, product name, quantity, unit price, created on, updated on. Totally 6 properties. Then I want to define setters and getters. I want to define setters and getters. Now we got all the setters and getters now. Yes, you know already in IDE how to create all the setters and getters. Next, I also want to override a toString method. Which method I want to override? toString. toString method I want to override. toString method I want to override. toString method I'm overriding now. Right. I told when you are creating an entity class, remember, when you are creating an entity class, You know that what entity class must contain parameterless constructor. My question, am I defining any constructor in this class? No, I'm not creating, right? Then we know Java compiler will define a constructor here. What constructor? Default constructor. That is also called parameterless only, na? Very good. Each variable must contain setter and getter methods. We have created, na? Nothing but the rules are satisfied. Done. Entity class is over. We got an entity class now. Are you getting my point? Right. Observe here. Yeah. Okay. Let's go ahead, guys. Finally, this is my entity class. What's the class name? TBL underscore, sorry, class name is product entity mapped with the table name TBL underscore products. Let me open my MySQL, means MySQL workbench. I'll open the MySQL workbench. Okay, first I want to execute this use test. Select star from TBL underscore products. But when I said TBL underscore products, my output I will show you. I'm getting what table does not exist. I don't have the table. Table does not exist. Okay, I no need to worry because table will be automatically generated by Hibernate only. Yes, currently table does not exist. Okay, no issue. No problem. My entity class is over. Once I can look at the entity class and try to find out. I have used annotations like @entity, @table. These are class level annotations. What level? Class level. And when I'm writing ID and column, where I'm writing them? Field level. Field means variable. Of course, you can also write them at method level. We practice with field level only. But what is another? Where is another place where you can write them? At method level also we can write. At field level or method level you can apply. Method level means you have to write on getter methods. You have to write on getter methods. Whenever, if that is method level, for example, annotation, you have to apply it on getter method. Which method? Na? Getter method. Okay, right. @ID, @column. You can apply this at field level or at getter method level. Simply remember like that. But we practice with the field level only. Okay. What are the two more new annotations? What are the two more new annotations? One is a creation timestamp. Next one is update timestamp. Clear? Yes. I will go to create a new package. My package name com.aat.dao. What's the package name? com.aat.dao. I want to create a new interface inside it. Inside this package, I'm creating a new interface. My interface name is product DAO. What's my interface name? Product DAO. In this interface, first I want to add the method declarations. Where the method definitions come? In the implementation class. But currently we are writing what? Interface we are writing. In interface, what I have to add? I have to add what? Method declarations. I will add the method declarations here. I want a method to perform save operation. So I just want to write void. I can say void or I can use return type as the same as the entity class name, whatever it is. Product entity, return type. Save product with the parameter product entity. Product entity. Understand it clearly. Semicolon. Okay. One method is what? Save product. Next one. Product entity. Return type is product entity. Method name is load product. Load product by ID. By ID of integer product ID. Tell me what first method will do, what the second method will do. First method will save a product to the database. Second method will load a product from the database. First one is save product. Second one is load product. Load product. Got my point? Next one. Next one again. I would like to update the product. Product entity. Return type product entity. Update product by ID. Integer product ID, comma, double unit price. I want to update the product by ID. What I want to update? I want to update the price, unit price I want to update. Whose unit price based on ID? So pass the ID and price. This is called new price. This is called new price. We want to update to the new price. It's a new unit price. Better I am writing new unit price. Okay. Last operation, delete. Void. Delete product by ID. Delete product by ID of integer product ID. Right. What I have created so far? Interface I have created. What's the name? Product DAO. How many methods I declared here? I have added 4 method declarations here to perform CRUD operations. To perform CRUD. First one is save. Next one is select, means read. This is update. This is delete. We are calling it as what operations? CRUD operations. This is for creating the record. Creating means inserting. Next one is reading. Next one is updating. Last one is deleting. Means what operations I want to perform? CRUD. CRUD operations on product object. Okay. Nothing but using JPA or using Hibernate, we can perform operations on objects only, na? Nice. DAO interface is okay. Or the next one, DAO IMPL, implementation class. Correct. Now I am writing one new package I am creating here. What is my package name? com.ait.dao.impl. Okay, com.ait.dao.what? IMPL. Right click, new class. What's my class name? Product DAO IMPL. What's the class name? Product DAO IMPL. It implements an interface called what? Product DAO. What is it? Product DAO. You got my point? Finish. Okay. What is my class name? Product DAO IMPL implements product DAO. Let's start overriding the logic for them. I told you. Like session factory. Like what factory? Session factory. You know what is there in our JPA? Entity manager factory. What is the name? Entity manager factory. Okay, first I'm creating private entity manager factory. Okay. Next, observe here. How to create entity manager? I can write the statement directly here only. Entity manager factory equal to, I can write directly like this. Entity manager factory equal to persistence dot create entity manager factory of, what is our persistence unit name? Test. Look at this. This is the way how we can create the entity manager factory class object. What's the method I'm calling? Create entity manager factory. What is a test? Test is the persistence unit name. So what is the persistence unit name? Test. If there are two persistence units, test and test2, then how many entity manager factory objects you need to create? 2. One entity manager factory is to work with database 1. Second entity manager factory object is to work with database 2. So how many entity manager factory objects are required in your application? Means what is your answer? Based on the number of databases, or based on number of persistence units? Based on the number of persistence units. Currently I have how many persistence units? 1. What is the name? Test. So I have included test here. Got it. Next one. Okay. Entity manager. I say entity manager equals to factory dot create entity manager. Create entity manager. Okay. What's the method name? Create entity manager. You know, session factory is to create a session. Na? Tell me here what entity manager factory is to create? Entity manager. Okay. To perform insert, update, and delete operations. Transaction is mandatory, na? Right. Entity transaction. TX equal to entity manager dot get transaction. What's the method name? Get transaction is a method here. Method name is a bit different. So entity transaction TX equal to entity manager dot, what's the method name? Get transaction. Now you have to begin the transaction. TX dot begin. Try. Tell me what I want to do. I want to save it. Okay. Entity manager dot, there is no method called save. If I'm typing SAVE, I'm getting error because we don't have save method here, but instead of that we have a method called persist. What's the method name? Persist. We have a method called persist method, so we can call that method called persist. Persist of product. This product is a parameter, na? Yes, I am passing that object. What is the method here? Persist. If no exception occurred during persist, TX dot commit. You got my point? Commit. You can write SOP. Product is inserted to the DB database. Product is inserted to the database. If there is an exception occurred, catch it. TX dot rollback message. Okay, issue in or error in inserting a product. inserting a product. Something, some message, whatever you want, you write. If you want display that exception, you can display. How can you display? EX. That object you can display, na? Right. Return that product. Because what is the return type I used? Product entity. Return the product object. Because what's the return type here? Product entity. So I'm returning the object of the product entity. What's the object name? Product. I'm returning it simply. This is the first method. What's the method name? Save product. Okay. So first look at this code once. I'm not explaining anything. Just go through this code once. Yeah, we are done. We are done. This is save product. Next one. I have to close entity manager object now. Finally, what I want to close? Entity manager dot close. So I'm done. So I am done with which operation? Save product operation. I am done with the save product. I am done with the save product. Next, I want to go with the next one. What's the next one? Load product by ID. Let's go ahead. Tell me first. Got it. Actually, basically, there is no separate meaning of ending the transaction. When a transaction is committed or when a transaction is rolled back, its meaning is transaction is completed. Committed means transaction is ended successfully. Okay. Rollback means transaction is ended with failures. Okay. Right. Good. Observe here. Now again here also entity manager is required to perform operations. So entity manager equals to factory dot create entity manager. Yes. But here transaction is not required because which operation we are performing? Select operation. For select operation, what is not required? Transaction is not required. But earlier, in Hibernate, two methods are there: load method and get method. Load is to perform lazy load operation. Get is to perform. Coming to here, there are two methods here also. Find is a method to perform early load operation. Get reference is a method to perform lazy load operation. Okay. So what are the two methods here in JPA? Find and get reference. Find method for early loading. Get reference method for lazy loading. Clear now? Done. Observe here. Product entity. Something P equal to entity manager dot find product entity dot class. The two arguments, na? Comma ID. Primary key, right? So what's the primary key value? Product ID. From where I am getting this product ID? From this parameter. From the parameter, I'm getting the product ID, na? Yes. So which method I called here? Find. Find method is to perform lazy load operation or early load operation. early load operation. In Hibernate, what are the methods? Hibernate API, load method and get method. But here, what are the methods in JPA? Find method and get reference method. Find method is to perform early load operation. Get reference method can be used for what? Lazy load operation. You are getting what? Product entity. Reference variable name is what? P. I want to close the entity manager first. Entity manager dot close. Then return P. Return P. Tell me what and what operations we finished for so far today. For so far today, what are the operations we completed here? One is a save product. Next one is a load product. What are the two more pending? Update product and delete product. We'll complete them tomorrow. We'll continue them on tomorrow. Yeah, guys. We have completed this part today. Remaining part will be discussed tomorrow. And also we will run this application tomorrow by creating the main class to perform these operations. And we'll test whether it's working or not working. Okay.